Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to be sharing the story of a lesson that I learned when I was living in El Salvador learning Spanish. And I was trying to force Spanish to fit into my preconceived ideas of how languages were supposed to work. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. So, what happened is I was hanging out with a friend named Fernando, and I was just learning Spanish. This was maybe the first or second month that I was living in El Salvador, and I was really pushing myself to practice Spanish with people. And so, obviously, you're going to talk about your hobbies, you're going to talk about things that are interesting to you, you're going to tell them about yourself, you're going to learn how to do this stuff. And one of the things that I wanted to say to him was that I taught myself how to play guitar. And I don't remember exactly what happened. I think I must have asked him, how do I say this or something? And Fernando didn't speak very much English. So I might have asked him in English, but it's more likely I tried to explain this concept to him in Spanish, that I taught myself guitar. And what he told me to say is, aprendí solo, which means I learned alone. Or maybe, oops, my battery's about to die in my computer here. All right, might be able to translate into I learned by myself. Okay, and that's not exactly what I wanted to learn how to say in Spanish. I was looking for just quick little things that I can spit out about myself in Spanish when I'm introducing myself or when I'm making small talk. And I really wanted to learn how to say I taught myself to play guitar. And he just kept saying, aprendí solo. That's what you have to say. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not really, I don't want to say I learned alone. I wanted to say I taught myself guitar. And what I realized a long time afterwards is saying I taught myself to play guitar or I learned to play guitar by myself is really the same thing. I mean, there's not a huge difference between those two things. Then maybe a month or two later, I was hanging out with another friend named Moises. And, I'm still taking every opportunity I can to learn Spanish with my friends. Anytime something comes up that I don't know how to say in Spanish, or I just have any kind of thoughts about something that I don't know how to translate, I would just ask people. I would say, how do I say this? And I have a box of gum, like little chiclets or something, and I pour myself out a piece of gum, pop a piece of gum in my mouth, and I say, hey, how do you say piece of gum? Moises also didn't speak very good English, so I said, I just hold up the piece of gum and I say, how do you say this? And he goes, un chicle, which translates directly, literally, it would translate into a gum. And I was like, no, but that sounds stupid. I don't want to call it a gum. It's just one little square piece of gum. I want to learn how to say a piece of gum, right? Because saying a gum, or I'm chewing a gum, or hey, can you give me a gum? That's not right. That sounds terrible. That sounds ridiculous, right? But it only sounds that way in English. And so I kept pushing back. I was like, no, but I don't want to learn how to say a gum. How do you call this thing? How do you call it when it's just one of them? What do you call it? And then he was like, una cajita de chicle, which is a little box of gum. And I was like, no, I'm not interested in learning how to say the box. I just want to learn how to talk about one piece. And I kept pushing back. I kept fighting, trying to figure out how to say what I wanted to learn how to say. And what I should have been realizing the whole time, first with Fernando and learning how to say I taught myself guitar, and then with Moises trying to learn how to say a piece of gum, what I should have been trying to do is ask them how they would say it, right? Because they don't say a piece of gum in Spanish. They just say a gum. And that's the way you talk. And if you try to say something a little different, like una pieza de chicle, or yo me enseñé a aprender a tocar la guitarra, it just sounds different. And what I should have been doing, rather than trying to force my ideas of how the language is supposed to work onto Spanish, I should have been learning from them, listening to how they say it, And and going along with that, and it'll sound much more natural. You'll sound much more like you fit in a whole lot more into the language, and you'll sound more like how the native speakers speak. I've been noticing this a lot over the past week or so since I've been, you probably hear my iPad beeping over there. It's because I'm getting nonstop messages from people on Hello Talk, which is an app designed to connect you with people who speak the language that you want to learn and who are trying to learn the language that you speak. So Hello Talk is a great app. And I've been talking to a lot of Thai people, and I've been, posting voice messages. I've been writing stuff in Thai and asking people to correct it. And one thing people keep saying to me, these Thai people that are learning English, they keep saying, good job, keep fighting. And it's just funny. It happens too many times for it to be a coincidence, right? Because if you get one person to say keep fighting, then maybe that's just a strange thing that person said. But when you get 5 or 6 or 7 different Thai people say keep fighting, then you have to realize that this is something that's coming from their native language. Okay, that's native language transfer into their target language or into their interlanguage. So presumably there's some phrase in Thai that would translate into keep fighting, and it probably means like, keep working on it or keep going. Good job, keep going, something like that. I don't know. I don't know enough Thai yet to understand what that would mean in context. But that's just another example of people, so it goes both ways. You're used to saying something a certain way, and you want to say it that way. And then you try to say it that way in your target language, but that thing just cannot be said this way in your target language. This is one reason why I always suggest learning Toki Pona for a week or 2 weeks. If I remember later, I'll include the link to a Toki Pona course down below in the description here. And I recommend this just as an exercise, okay? Obviously, you're not probably interested in spending your life learning to master Toki Pona. If you're not familiar with what Toki Pona is a very minimalistic language that has only 120 words, and you have to learn how to express yourself using a very small amount of words. And it really forces you to take a step back and look at how language works and forget how you think language should be spoken. You have to take a much broader view of what you're trying to communicate and then learn to say it that way. So that's why I always recommend learning Toki Pona. Sometimes I recommend learning Esperanto, but Toki Pona is really great for learning circumlocution. And you just have to forget how I am used to saying things and try to figure out how people say things in your target language. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for those who have been watching and those who have been commenting. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the comments here. But thanks, Alan, Alexander, and Islam for commenting. And I'll see you guys on my next video this coming Monday. See you then.